morning, Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners with Cat 2 on deck. What's up, gentlemen?
Not much. Having a great day. Reading more Game of Thrones. I guess Storm of Swords.
Has anyone here ever had a bad day?
Never had a bad day in my life. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Again, trying to stay on topic. Before we get off topic, I'm going to give the quick recap. Pretty easy one. Rob comes back to River Run and Cat meets with him. That's all that happens here.
Rob comes back and everything is fucked.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, what'd you think of our favorite girl, Cat?
Oh man, and we got Rob too, right? Like it's kind of both of them. I know, but I'm just saying it's like it runs in the family. Right?
Rob's just Cat's son. Is that how that's the one sentence synopsis is Rob is Cat's son.
Yeah, you want to hate on her, I think you have to hate on him right now too.
You know what? We have this saying that Jeff keeps saying that I really like. You plant corn, you get corn. Jeff said it once, said it 100 times. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, right? Like, Arya's not like that. John's not. I mean, she doesn't really like John, but John's not like that.
John's only half corn.
Bran and Rickon weren't.
There's two factors in this deal.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's not everything. Like, I guess every kernel's not the same, right? But you just know that you're planting corn, you're going to end up with corn. It might taste a little different at times, or
yeah,
it's still corn at the end of the day. It'll always end up being corn when you go to eat it.
So I guess to get into it, let's get a little recap of what's going on with Kat, and it's just a recap because her situation is dependent on what she's done in the past couple chapters.
She let Jaime go, trying to trade her for Sansa, and she thinks Arya. We know not Arya. She got imprisoned because she just fucking let Jaime go.
Yeah, they imprisoned in her dad's room, not in the prison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still pretty imprisoned, right? Like she's trapped in his room. She's not. They won't give her free reign. That was even something in this chapter they talked about. And then finally, Rob shows up, and she's like, "Oh, things are going to change." And she finds out the dumb shit Rob did.
Yeah, it just seems like she's getting even less info out of like the Maester or just anybody anymore. You know, she's trying to spy, but they're even less willing to give her any intel.
Yeah, so since the last chapter, like basically the last chapter ended with I think Edmure coming back from his battle, and he came to talk to Kat for the first time after he got the news of what she did. And basically he wasn't happy with it, and then she says that he hasn't come to talk to her again. We don't know how long it's been, probably not too long. One of the other things that's happened that she thinks back on since the last Cat chapter is some people that were sent out of River Run to go get Jaime back.
Came back soaking wet.
Came walking back all wet, yeah. So
without their boot.
Yeah. Which is funny because like she was like, oh, somehow the Kingslayer thought to kill them. But like she didn't, like Brienne.
She didn't give any respect to the girl Brienne, exactly. Brienne's the one that sunk their boat. She's like, somehow the Kingslayer sunk their boat and they have to come walking back. But it was all Brienne.
Yeah, Brienne climbed that hill.
Pushing boulders.
Yeah, exactly. He pushed a boulder that Nelson was angry about, right? I think somebody was angry about it.
I said it was possible.
I just want to know how big of a boulder it is. If it sunk this thing, man.
When I first read this, I was like, this is kind of not possible. But then I thought about it back. Like, A, it wouldn't need to be that big to put a fatal hole in the ship, I don't think. But B, I think it could have been precariously situated. We don't got to talk about this boulder anymore. Cat remembers are coming back. Who it was Robin Ryger, just so I get his name in. Robin Ryger was the one who was sent out, and he's the one coming back. So yeah, all that's been going on with Hoster. He's just been muttering and like saying tansy every once in a while, which that's like the thing he's been talking about for a while. Yeah. And Edmure's just been avoiding her, chilling with his friends, Patrick Mallister and Mark Piper, listening to Ryman the Rhymer sing of his victory.
Sing of a great victory.
Pat himself on the back. Is really what, he keeps adding verses and stuff, right? He said this song's long as hell.
Out there in One Night 2 then is about a couple of guys yelling. She couldn't make out who, but she thinks it was a couple Freys. And there was about 40 of them total that ended up leaving the castle, but she didn't know why or who at the time. But we'll figure that out a little bit later.
Yeah, some of this comes back later. And when you think about that, I'll just remind now, give Kyle some time to stew on it. Arya had a similar thing happen when she was at Harrenhal before she escaped, where some Freys got mad and left, and the one Frey even said, "I lost my princess. I have to I have to marry somebody else now." So yeah, that was in like a previous Arya chapter. But yeah, we'll get back to why all that the Freys are a little upset later on.
I do remember that now that you say that. I didn't at the time put that together. And then even today, like I think I wouldn't have, like, I'm glad that they wrapped this one up so I didn't have to make a prediction and be wrong. Because I don't think I was like, why were they mad?
I think we talked about that. Yeah. I think we talked about that when obviously that Arya chapter.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit, that guy was actually talking about
Arya.
Marrying Arya. Yeah. I didn't want Nelson to say
I think we talked about I'm pretty sure we talked about that before. Yeah. With Kyle, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So Rob shows up and he calls her down to the Great Hall. She was already dressed, ready to go. And they're doing this kind of like, again, pat Edmure on the back for his quote unquote victory as Catelyn walks in.
Yep.
And she's just kind of taking in the people that she sees, and then more importantly, taking in Rob, the way he looks now. He's a little bit different. It's weird. He's kind of shaped. I'll just say this, because I would say in most war movies, if you go away to war, most times you're coming back with a little bit of beard, and he was clean shaven.
I feel like that's a North thing too. I feel like Rob probably is too young to grow a full beard. I'm sure Kat has like announced, like remarked on this before, like maybe like, oh, he had the wisp of a mustache, like maybe before he went off to war.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Rob's the kind of guy who, like, you can't grow a real beard, you shave it all off. You know what I mean?
If it's not nice and full and
get a nice goatee.
That's 100% just me guessing, and I actually didn't think about this until just now that we're talking about it out loud. But I think at one point when Tyrion talks about Tywin, like when he first describes in like early Tyrion chapters, I think he says he was balding.
Right?
Well, he was balding, but like he says that ever since Tywin started to bald, he just shaved the whole thing off. Tywin wasn't a man for half measures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if at all there's an intended parallel there, but maybe you could draw one between Rob.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one more thing too. Is he's probably 16. You know, getting into now with all the fighting, probably in some pretty good like shape. He's probably got like a hardened jaw. Like he's probably got a nice young jawline that it probably looks better than his shitty ass patchy beard. But yeah, good for him. So they're talking.
Let's talk about this real quick. They go more in depth to it at the end, but let's just talk about it now. So Edmure, when they come in, you said it. Rob's praising Edmure for this battle, right?
Yep.
And later in the Solar, let's skip to it, like hold nothing back. They're basically saying you're an idiot.
Like, yeah, you screwed up our plans, pretty much. Yeah. Like, if you'd have let him come through, like, you're supposed to let him march west, dude. Like,
yeah. So, question for Kyle: when you read this the first time, like, I don't think we've ever. I mean, Jeff and I have, in spoiler sections, but we've never had the thought that Edmure did anything wrong. Like, he was doing a good job the whole way here, and I think I'm in the camp that Edmure didn't do anything wrong. Like, they're getting on his ass even at the end.
They probably should have.
He held River Run. They
probably should have told him, like, hey, man, if Tywin wants to come through, you let him through, bud.
Yeah. Exactly. I think this is just as much Rob's fault as Edmure's fault.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've talked to Jeff about this in spoiler sections before. Maybe even Glow, I feel like.
And probably, how are we going to say his name, the Blackfish? Is it Brendan? Brendan. We'll go Brendan. Let us know in Discord how you pronounce it. I was thinking it was Bryden, but
I was just making a joke.
Blackfish.
Blackfish. Someone should have like, hey, we're like a little bit of the plan, maybe not the whole plan. Like,
what was that? Like the famous was that the atom bomb where when they built it, they didn't tell anything. They told they didn't tell anybody
the full story.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
I think it was the B-2 bomber. When they built the B-2 stealth bomber, they like contracted all the parts out to these different companies, but nobody knew what they were actually making. They just knew they were making a part, and it all came together at the end. And only the one person knew. It was something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what Rob's doing. That way, nobody can like sell the plans to anybody else or sell them out.
He could have said, "Hold River Run, don't risk any of our men. Get sieged if anything, right? Take a siege and wait for us to come home." He could have said that, and that doesn't mean anything more than just don't leave the castle even further. And like get siege type shit.
Everything Rob was doing, he had planned to do when he set out, right? Like nothing changed when he went west. He could have told him this before he left. I guess I'm arguing with you guys, right? Like this is like like he knew what was going on. He knew what he was going to do. He knew like what he wanted to happen. Why wouldn't you share that with your fucking general? Right? Like,
I think Rob even admits to it too. Like he ends up saying like, I can win every battle, but it's like the in between shit that I've kind of fucked up. And he might.
I think you were talking about the marriage there.
Sure, but he's also
You're right,
meant
though, Joe.
letting Theon
Yeah.
go was part of it.
Yeah.
And he could probably say without
Not
giving
telling
him
Edmure
any
the plan.
yeah, like, all right, like
Yeah.
I actually fucked it up by not telling you, but you're an idiot. But you're not, because I'm an idiot too, type of thing. He's trying to save face. He's already fucked up in his mind twice, hugely. This one, I think he can even swallow it that it's not lost him the war that they went south. Now he's fighting kind of a different and maybe more powerful army, but he hasn't lost to the Lannisters yet.
Well, I think I think he's saying if Edmure would have done what he was expecting, or I guess, or hoping Edmure to do, then at least the Lannisters are done. Like that would be the end of them, because the King's Landing Lannisters are done, and then we would have taken care of the Tywin Lannisters in the West. So the Lannisters as like a whole are just kind of out of the War of the Five Kings, right? Stannis might still not be our friend, and now we got this phrase problem, but we at least have one of them out of the picture. Now we still have the Lannisters to deal with down south. Now the Freys aren't.
They're probably even worse now, right? Like,
yeah, nobody's. Yeah, they're kind of like everyone's.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the
north.
power.
Yeah, they have the Tyrells now, so like they're.
And to go even further in this chapter, we kind of know that they're kind of trapped in the Riverlands anyway, So
yeah.
Well, yeah, they can't go back to Winterfell, right?
Yeah. The reason I wanted to bring that up now is because I think it's kind of like missed, or people don't think about it too much. The fact that Robb here, in front of everybody, all of Edmure's actual people, he's just praising him. He's like, "You did an awesome job. You're awesome."
I mean, he even
Most
tells him when
people
he's
would not do this. Yeah, and Brendan Blackfish points it out like later on before they scold him, like, "You should be thanking Robb for praising you instead of calling you a fool. I would have flayed you in front of all of them." I think this is like, I don't know, it shows a lot of character for Robb.
Yeah, right. Like he's still,
especially when you just
the leader. He's still the leader of it all.
Do you think? Do you think that's a Ned tactic? Do you think he learned that from Ned?
I think it's Nedish.
Yeah. I think it shows a lot of character, right? Like if we play video games, the three of us a lot. If I die in a video game, the first thing out of my mouth is normally Kyle or Jeff, and I'm gonna blame you for something, right? Even though it's 100% my fault what I just did. Robb's fucking up. Robb just fucked up. It would be so easy for him right now to be like, Kat, I can't believe you just threw the war for me by letting Jaime go. Edmure, I can't believe you just like push responsibility off on everybody else. But in terms of like the show that he puts on in front of all his men, he has his fuck up on stage with him. Like he's like owning it in front of everyone. Like, I fucked up. Edmure, you did awesome. Even though he might believe the opposite, that what I did wasn't a big deal and Edmure really screwed us.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the message that he'd be sending. Say he comes home. Edmure's obviously got buddies here, right? Like even I don't know how many, but enough that like the people think about the mindset of the people that just fought this battle, that like they had friends and family probably die in, and then Robb comes home and is like, "You guys are idiots for fighting that battle."
Exactly.
And they're like, "What are you talking about? We just won that shit for you. Like you're an asshole."
Well, that's the other thing too, is they had no say in it, right? That everybody except for Edmure had no say in going out to fight. Like they're like, you can't scold them. They just did what they were commanded to do, right? They weren't the ones that were commanded not to do that or whatever. I just want to point out, because I think it does show. I think it shows a lot about Robb, the fact that he praises Edmure here, and I think people note it, but I think it shows a lot. But yeah.
All right, so she walks in. Eutharides Wayne bangs the staff, which turns the attention now to her. She's walking up and noticing 6 people behind Robb that she doesn't notice. She doesn't know their sigils. She doesn't recognize them at all. And as she comes up, the Blackfish is the first to greet her. Yep. I like the Blackfish a lot because he's just like, I'm a second son, I guess, right? Like, fuck you guys all. Like, whatever. I'm already the Blackfish. Like,
we know that story, right, Kyle?
I think so, but it's been so long, man. That was over a book ago that we.
I'm pretty sure we do. Yeah, last time we saw Blackfish was before he left with Robb. But he has been in for a while, because he originally is guarding the Bloody Gate, which is the gate into the Eyrie. Right?
She walked by him there. Yep.
He walks her the rest of the way to the Eyrie and is with her, and then leaves with her. So he's with her forever since then. But yeah, basically him and Hoster. I think we know it already. Him and Hoster had a disagreement. Hoster wanted him to marry somebody, and he was like, "No, I'm not marrying that person." And then I think he just like left.
Yeah, he bailed.
I do remember hearing that story. Yeah.
Did he go with Lysa, or was that even?
Yeah, he's like, "I'm just gonna go.
Fuck it, I'll go be a knight." And then he was like, "All right, I'll be Lysa's guard."
I think that's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
All right. So Robb kind of like calls to her too, and it's not like a asshole-ish way, I guess. He's just like mother. He calls her mother, right?
Yeah.
And they just kind of have like courtesies, I guess, back and forth. Like, oh, I'm so glad you returned. Heard you got injured. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't really. They don't cook each other there either.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't lay into her at all, right?
Yeah, she calls him your grace. Like goes through that whole thing. I prayed for you, heard you were wounded. He's like, yeah, I got shot in the arm, but I was taken care of. Like, I'm all good.
The best care.
Yeah.
The best care. What do you say?
Yeah, something like that. It was great.
The best of care.
It was fucking great. I'd do it again. I'd do it again.
Hey, she might have learned something from Shay Baby somewhere down the line.
So Kat knows that it's got to come up eventually, so she just gets right to it. She's like, they had to have told you what I did. Did they tell you why? And he's like, yep, it was for the girls. And she's like, I had 5 children. Now I'm down to just 3. And again, this is Bran and Rickon. We know she's still got 5 kids kicking around, right?
She's doing all right.
Yeah. This is where Lord Rickard Karstark comes forward, and this guy's not happy.
Oh yeah, no, he's pissed because he's like, I used to have kids too, lady.
You used to have 3, now I have 1 because of the dude you let go.
Exactly. He's like, everybody's losing stuff here. Like you can't be doing this. Like,
yeah,
and he's got a point, right? Like,
I do get his point, and it's kind of ballsy that in her state she kind of turns around and been like, look, your 2 sons are dead, my 2 daughters aren't. Like, I'm basically buying life. Like you're talking about salvaging their death,
vengeance. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's what I was going to say, I guess, is like, I don't think he's on the right track 100%. The vengeance, I think at the same time, though, like this is a vital key in like those guys were fighting in this war, right, for that cause. And like, you've hurt the cause that they died for at that point.
Yeah.
I think is maybe the better ending that they both should have kind of came up with the idea of. But
well, the other thing, and I'm not
go ahead.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure his 3rd son, Harry Karstark, I'm pretty sure he was captured at the Battle of the Green Fork. So the battle that Tyrion fought in early on. Right. I'm pretty sure that after the Whispering Wood, I talked about this, how Lord Karstark had 3 sons, 1 got captured and 2 were killed. So here he's arguing that, like, oh, you cost me my vengeance. He could have been arguing like, yo, what the fuck? You could have thrown in my son with this deal.
Yeah, like,
right? Like,
is there no ransom? Like, does my son not matter in this whole deal?
Exactly. Why do your kids matter more than mine?
That's a good point.
Because Kat's argument is Jaime's death wouldn't have helped your 2 sons, but his life might help my son, my daughters. And he could have been like, yeah, his life also could have helped my son. Like, throw us in there. You're not the only person who's lost people or have captured people. Even Rob talks about later how his wife's father was their captive. Right? People are captured all over the place in this war. Kat's not the only person who has people
exactly
captive.
She seems very I don't know if narcissistic is a correct term, but like very focused on herself
madness.
for sure.
Mother's madness.
I would agree with Kyle. I think she's super narrow-minded, and like the same way that Rob had heard, prisoner transfers or prisoner exchange, and like they were never strong enough. Like, Rob had to deal with that. He had 2 sisters, and he was giving away maybe the best fighter in the realm, and he had to say no. He had to decline that trade.
Exactly. That was on his table earlier with Cleos. When Cleos first showed up, that was like a thing that, like, again, it sounded like it was part of the overall deal. Like, it was a huge package that was not good terms. But it also kind of sounded, at least this is how Kat took it, that was a separate deal. Right, like, oh, here's the terms, you surrender, separate deal,
2 for 1,
Jaime for the 2, exactly, yeah. I don't know if that's how it was, but that's kind of how Kat took it when she met with Cleos when she got him drunk, which is what spurred her Jaime thing. So that's a good point, Jeff. Yeah.
All right, so they keep going back. Great John is like, all right, like she was a mother. Like they do stupid things in these times, right? That's basically what he said.
Mother's folly.
Women are made that way. That's what mother's folly. Women are made that way.
I mean, he's got that's an awful take, but at the same time, at least she's got an ally in the room. Like if they were all against her, right? Like all these dudes under Rob, like this would be a much different situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And Great John is a good dude to have on your side, right? Like he's probably one of the more opposing ones
for sure. He's definitely one of the loudest ones. Like he has no problem talking.
Assertive. Yes.
I don't want to linger on it too much. The show, Nelson, is a little bit different. This scene, right? Like we don't have to stay on it at all.
I'm trying to think this scene.
I mean, it's definitely Karstark's still like the most mad because he had the sons that died. But like, I think a lot of the conversation, like I think Rob is
the one standing up.
Edmure in like the middle of the room.
I don't think so. The him scolding Edmure is the only memorable part of this that I remember from the show. That's a great scene. Him and
I think
Blackfish
Great
are,
John
like,
and
letting
them.
Edmure
I
have
think
it.
Great John and them were in the room too for that. Like I don't think it was an empty room of Tully's, but that's neither here nor there. We can.
Yeah.
I can always go back and watch it. But all right, so Karstark's like, no, bullshit. This is treason, and Rob's like, she did it for love. Like I get it. Love can
Yeah.
lead to stupid things.
Read that quote, Jeff. I like this quote. Start with enough. You can be Rob.
Enough.
For just an instant, Rob sounded more like Brandon than his father.
No man calls my lady of Winterfell a traitor in my hearing, Lord Brickard.
When he turned to Catelyn, his voice softened.
If I could wish the Kingslayer back in chains, I would. You freed him without my knowledge or consent. But what you did, I know you did for love. For Arya and Sansa. And out of grief for Bran and Rickon. Love's not always wise, I've learned. It can lead us to great folly. But we follow our hearts, wherever they take us. Don't we, Mother?
Yep. So this little quote that Rob kind of says here at the end about the love, it reminds me of something Maester Aemon says to Jon. I think it's in the books, 95% sure. There's no way Dan and Dave came up with it. It's definitely in the show, season 1. He says when Jon like is on the teetering, like, oh, do I desert, when he's getting all this news about like, oh, Rob's going south, they killed Ned, all this stuff.
Rob needs me is yeah.
Yeah. Maester Aemon hits him with this: love is the death of duty.
I think he said it in the book.
Yeah, and I think that's the conclusion. It's basically what Rob's saying here is like love can lead us to great folly, right? Love can lead us to do stupid stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's like, hey, I married the first lady that showed me some interest, because that's really what happened, right?
Well, it's interesting. We'll get to I think we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. Karstark wasn't having it. He left. He bails.
He's gone.
Fuck this shit. I'm out of here. It's kind of
Kat's like, she's like, I'll make amends however I can to the king and to you, Lord Karstark. And he's like, well, your amends warm my sons in their cold graves. And he dips.
Fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
Yeah, he's like, I've had enough of this. And Rob again is hitting her with more of these, like what Kat thinks later is like just early entrapment.
Well, pretty much like, yeah, you got to be okay with me. Yeah, I'm gonna be okay with you right now.
Yeah, I understand folly's made for love. Yeah, I know what it's like to love so much you can think of nothing else. Just all this stuff. And she's like, oh my god, thank God I still have this child. He's on my side.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, everybody's got to get out of here. We need to talk. Just me and my uncles. You and my uncles.
Yep.
And everyone bails, but before they do, they kind of give her like a pat on the back, like, all right, you're cool with us.
Mage is cool. Mage Mormont, who's like the fighting warrior from the Mormonts.
Yeah.
She's like, I would have done the same. Umber lifted her off her feet and squeezed her. Is this a big hug? He's giving her a big hug, but it says he squeezed her arms. Hug. It says he squeezed her arms with his hands.
Well, you could squeeze like she didn't hug back type of thing.
Okay.
Like you get squeezed. I know this is awful for camera, but you just
that's
imagine your arms are at your side and you get bear hugged.
Somehow I pictured him like picking her up like in front of them and like shaking her like, oh. I don't know if it really matters. Kat, I love you. How you doing? It kind of fits with the great time.
And as they were going on, they get colder and colder.
Exactly.
Galbert Glover and Jason Mallister, and then Jonas Bracken almost icy.
But they all said nice stuff, whatever they said. They're colder tones, yeah. Which I guess just means they're less and less accepting with what she did, right?
And then Edmure finishes it off. Edmure's probably like, all right, sorry for scolding you for this long. If Rob's cool with it, I'm cool with it too. Edmure probably was like, damn, I read that one wrong. He's all in.
Again, I think you have a bad picture of Edmure because of the show. I feel like the show kind of makes Edmure look like a fool. I don't think
let's just think about what he did. Like, he was scolding the shit out of her and hasn't talked to her in how long since he came home. And now right after Rob forgives her, he's like, all right, I forgive you too.
I'm not saying he's the wisest.
Like, if Rob would have, this is my point, if Rob would have not forgiven her and would have been a big old dickhead to her, he would have continued to be a dickhead.
I don't think that, I don't know. That's not how I read this. I read this as, I know I was harsh on you and I yelled at you earlier, but he's like, it's not for not loving your children. He's like, I love you. Like, I pray for your children just as much as you do.
He didn't even say, sorry. He said, I pray for your girls as well, Kat. I hope you do not doubt that. He doesn't say.
I know. I think he's just clarifying that, hey, I know that I came and scolded you earlier, but it's not because I'm like don't like. It's not because I don't love you or the children. I love your children. I just think what you did stupid. I don't think he doesn't think that what you did stupid. I think he still stands by that. He just like know that I still love your children and I love you.
And a lot of other people thought what you did was stupid, and if I didn't do something about it, they would have thought I was stupid. And then like he's like, I mean, at the very least, he had to play the role of leader, right?
Yeah, exactly. I had shoes to fill.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We see it differently. So, she notices also that Grey Wind isn't with him, which we get into a lot more of why later.
Yep.
They're still in the main hall, and Robb introduces the new followers, right?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know you guys. Who are you? And the one guy says, we're new, but we're fierce and we're going to prove it. And Robb's like, yeah, here we go. Introductions. The lady is Lady Sibel Westerling. She's the wife of Lord Gawain Westerling, who was when we took captive in the Whispering Wood. We find out that he is being held at Seaguard by Jason Mallister. But Robb says he's going to free him now, but he's not really sure what he's going to do because he's got fucked. Like if he doesn't join Robb, he can't really go home, or maybe he couldn't be like, I was captive.
I mean, I think he probably could go home if he would have been like, all right, fuck my family, they all left, but I was a traitor, or I was a captive, not a traitor.
Robb acknowledges though he puts him in a bad spot. Not here, but yeah. So then he goes on and he's like, this is when Robb does the introduction, Cat like light bulb, she recognizes this sigil. 6 white seashells on sand. This is House Westerling. They were minor house sworn to the Lannisters.
Yep. So then there's her Lady Sable's brother, Rolf Spicer.
Yep.
Who's got a different...
Yeah, different sigil, but this is the guy we learn later. Grey Wind doesn't like
Grey Wind doesn't like the smell of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he was Castellan too, right? So, like, I mean, he's pretty important there, the Crag.
Yeah. He was the one in charge of the castle since the Lord was captive. Exactly, yep.
Then there's Reynold Westerling.
Yep, who's the older of the 2 boys. He was the knight that Kat was talking about.
Yep. Then little girl Elena, who curtsies.
Yeah, Kat thinks about her earlier as about Sansa's age. So, and then
Rollum Westerling, who is the new squire.
Yep. He goes to kneel, but nobody else is kneeling, so he just
like,
bows.
That's kind of goofy.
He's a little awkward, but you can tell he likes his job.
He's
later.
got some fire to him,
Robb.
though.
Yeah, you like this kid. And then the wife, Robb's like, and then here she is,
baby girl Jane.
My wife,
my lady wife.
Oh God.
First thought that flew across Catelyn's mind was, no, that cannot be. You're only a child. The second was, and besides, you have pledged another. The third was, mother of mercy, Robb, what have you done?
Do you think that was conveyed on her face at all?
Hopefully.
Like,
probably.
Do you think her face lied to her for a couple seconds? Like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
and then she like snapped back into it.
Well, and then the next paragraph, she's like realizing that, like thinking back on Robb trapping her with the follies for love.
Everything he said makes sense now. Yeah, like why didn't I put this together sooner? They were standing there right the whole time.
Yeah, they could probably see the gears turning in her head.
Yeah.
Probably.
So that's about it for the Westerlings. They end up going to bed.
She tries to be nice to the wife, but
she says she'll be a good wife and wise queen. And Kat's like, "Oh fuck yeah, you're not just a wife, you're
yeah, like I gotta be nice to you."
Yeah, she was pretty, chestnut curls, heart-shaped face, shy smile, slender, good hips, good for babies.
Good
Kat's
hips.
like, "Oh yeah, definitely gonna be pumping out some babies."
Written by George.
Yeah.
Such a weird judgment.
It's George.
Got good hips.
But yeah, Sibel, the mom, comes and says like, yeah, good to meet you guys. We're happy to join the house, but we're beat. Let us go to bed. And yep, they're gone. Robb kisses her out the door. Like we said, the squire wants to hang out, and the older brother's like, Robb's gotten by without you for 16 years. He'll be good a few hours. Chill.
He doesn't need his sword right now. Like, go to bed.
Yep.
So they decide to take this into a more private room. So they go up to the audience chamber and have a couple conversations as they head on up.
Yeah, like I think the first half of this is actually before they even leave. Not that it really matters,
they're just continue to sit around there.
Yeah, like Edmure's walking.
Let's leave.
I think Edmure walks them to the door, right?
Or back to their rooms,
exactly.
maybe.
A lot of the conversation happens, and all of a sudden it's like, and Edmure was back, and I'm like, holy fuck! All of this was still like, not that it matters, but again, like all of this was still in the Great Hall. But yeah.
So the first one's like, all right, Robb, what the fuck happened? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And he basically got shot, taken their castle. He was on the ram. The other people went over the wall. He was on the ram at the front door. Takes an arrow to the arm. he thought it was okay. It starts to fester. Jane takes care of him, which, just sacked her house, but yeah, I'll take care of you. Like,
Yeah.
she had no vengeance in her heart. She must have liked him too.
And like, I'm wondering, like, was there not a maester? And like, what is Great John doing? Like, is Great John just like, oh yeah, go ahead, people who like live here who we're fighting against, just take our kid like, behind closed doors. Like, I'm sure there was some supervision here. I'm guessing there was no maester, but I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. I thought that was weird too. Like, why is she taking care of it?
Yeah, maybe the maester came in and like poured the boiling wine, and then she like mopped it up and like.
Rob just doesn't remember the maester. Like, there was a maester there. She was just kind of in the corner. Yeah.
And then he got the news for what happened at Winterfell, and then she really comforted him.
Yep. Real quick before we get into that, the only thing that I think we skipped over was Kat's like, how many men does your new wife bring with you?
Yeah.
And she's like 50 and a dozen knights, and Kat's like, the phrase brought 1,000 knights and 3,000 foot.
No, I think it was 300 on foot.
3,000. The phrase gave 4,000 total.
1,000 mounted knights and near 3,000 foot.
Good call.
What I want to say though is only 40 of the phrase left that day. She saw, right?
True, but some were with Roose, right?
Okay, true.
And whoever was with Rob was probably already gone because they had left him, and Rob had most of the force.
True.
So, but that's a good point. I guess it was only 40 here.
I was just wondering what that meant for the numbers that were like defeated or whatever,
I was thinking that too. I don't know exactly how many Rob has right now, but you can assume about probably 3,000 to 4,000 he lost with the phrase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever ones were at Harrenhal too.
Except when Frey died at Oxcross, like some of the men had probably died here and there, but yeah, they're all gone now. So, but yeah, so he says like, yeah, she comforted me. Kat's like, I didn't need to know, didn't need to ask what that meant, and then she assumes that the next day Rob married her,
and it's true.
And he says it was the only honorable thing to do. So like. To you, Kyle, I feel like what you're getting at is he did it because like he's like love struck. He's like, I'm in love, head over heels, this is it. He could have just not married her and been totally fine with the phrase.
Yeah.
He marries her to save her honor.
Nobody would have cared. The phrase even say something worse, like we can kill this girl.
Exactly. Like my sister's not going to marry a widower. Like Blackwater's like, we can solve this problem, but it still doesn't mean we're going to like be with you. But I think again, this shows more. This is a huge character thing to Rob. 90% of people would have, whatever, who gives a fuck. He put her honor in front of his. And when you say, is this like a Ned thing? I think this probably is a very Ned thing.
But why does anybody know?
What do you mean?
Like, why is her honor at stake here?
Well, they would know she's not a maiden. She's a highborn daughter who's not a maiden.
Because somebody watched the door and she never left, and then rumor got around that she's a harlot. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the point here is that and that's why Kat assumes this, right? I don't think Kat assumes Rob was just head over heels and that's why he married her. He assumes that this is like Ned's son. You're doing the honorable thing. I'm marrying this girl. Fuck it. Fuck the consequences. This is the honorable. Save her honor over mine, kind of.
Okay.
I guess
I can see
I don't know
that.
if that's really a Ned thing, but Ned was like the honor guy. Ned probably just
well,
wouldn't have fucked
I
her.
think if Ned was alive, like say Ned was alive right now and Rob was like, look, I don't know, maybe Rob admits to getting comforted. He'd be like, all right, well, shit, you got to marry her now. Like,
I mean, we say that, but then Ned has a bastard, right?
Yeah.
Ned needed to marry Kat for this alliance thing during Robert's Rebellion.
They were already married.
It seems like Ned might have been in a Rob situation here and gone with fuck the girl.
Took the baby.
Yeah, but again, I feel like it's different if it's a highborn, right? I don't know. We don't know about John's mom, but maybe she just wasn't a highborn, right? And just like it's easier to screw her honor over the. But it is weird because you say Ned wouldn't have done this, but we got Jon Snow walking around.
True, that's a good point. But
all right, so he's basically like, all right, we'll talk to. I could have made this. Just going back, like the one Frey that died, he's like, I probably could have got him on our side to not hate me. I forget what his name was, but Ryman and Blackwater weren't happy.
Yeah,
those were the two that were with him, right? The two, I guess, leaders of the Freyish group.
Yeah, like once, Sepron was gone, Blackwater and Ryman. Ryman's dull-witted as a stone. Basically, like he wouldn't see the reason I couldn't. And Blackwater didn't get his nickname for the color of his beard. And then that's what you said, Jeff. He went so far as to say his sisters wouldn't like to marry a widower. And Rob's like, I would have killed him for that one if Jean didn't stop. Jane Westerling, Jane.
I think it's Jane. Gaey.
We're going Jane.
I think you're right. It's Jane. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
they bailed, and Umber was like, "Fuck it, let's go kill them right now."
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Yeah, they got their backs to us. Let's kill them right here.
yeah. And Cat's like, it's a good thing you didn't. Fighting your own in enemy territory is never a good idea.
Yeah.
And Rob's like, yeah, plus I want to keep that door open because, like, and he comes back to it at the end. We need the phrase. Like, we're fucked without the phrase. So he's like, fighting them there, we don't have a chance. He's like, now we have a little chance because there's some people on my side who are going to offer themselves up now.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like people are lining up for it.
Yeah, but not A-list
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
We got some B and C list people. I would
This
say.
isn't the superstars, coming up.
Rob kind of hypes him up, but then when Cat like gives them their credentials, the second son of the fattest lord and two hoary old brigands, I think is how Cat puts it. But yeah, we got Wendell Manderley, who's the second son of Lord Wyman Manderley, and the Great John's uncles would like to wed again. These two are the two that Bran has seen at the Harvest Feast: Moore's Crow's Food Umber and Hother Horsebane Umber. So yeah, we don't know much about that.
Not a great lineup.
Horsebane and Crow's Food are not great names.
And they're the Great John's uncles.
Yeah, so they gotta be old.
Yeah. Again, like medieval time, maybe not super old, but relatively old. There's
50.
Small John, Great John, and now we got these guys. Exactly, but like
45, 50. Yeah.
So Frey's going from getting a king to getting those two guys. Like
Yeah. Like, all right, we pass. And she even says like he's not reasonable. Like he wanted to be the grandfather of a king.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about
this isn't gonna cut it.
And these two old people. I love that Rob then tries to get really defensive about it, or tries to justify it. Like,
well, he gets defensive when she says, "Not only that, but you married a lesser house. Like you didn't just."
He's like, they're better blood. They're better blood than the Freys. They're an ancient line descended from the first men. King of the Rock sometimes wed Westerlings before conquest.
Exactly.
Even Maegor.
And, so even Maegor the Cruel had married a Jean Westerling, exactly. But so we kind of know some of the Frey history. They got famous not because they were a really old family, just because they took over this river and built a bridge. That's why they're a large family. It's just because they
strategic
decided,
land.
Yeah, exactly. They decided like we're gonna live here and charge a big fee, and they kind of got rich because of
we're
it.
gonna be the drawbridge people.
Exactly. But because of that, yeah. So they're upstarts, and he doesn't like. They are upstarts, but he doesn't like that.
I'm gonna bang every lady in town for the next 40, 50 years. Make as many kids as possible. That's the phrase.
Was the strat, yeah. So
they got a lot now. Edmure comes back, and they take this upstairs.
Well, Kat says that this isn't the first time that he's been insulted like this. John Aaron refused to foster his grandsons, and even Hoster refused to marry Edmure to one of his daughters once. So like Frey has just been refused multiple times on this sort of thing, and then he finally gets that in, and Rob just blows it off. You know what I mean? Like after he gets
he thought this was the one. Yeah. And you pulled the rug out, bud.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So they go upstairs now, and while they walk up, she has to ask him where the fuck's Grey Wind. He used to always be with you, and Rob has a new take on his wolf.
I am not my wolf is pretty much what he says, right? Like he's...
Yeah, so Grey Wind's still around. He's just in the yard eating mutton. But yeah, Rob is distancing.
He's like, he's killed too many men to fear them now. So why should he be afraid of anybody?
He's always growling and snapping. He gets restless.
Dude, so he's got 6 or 7 at Oxcross, plus 1 at Ashford and at the Crag. He's at 8 or 9 bodies.
Frag count.
I mean, we didn't see him, so they're not on the frag count, but Grey Wind's up there with bodies wise.
But it's basically then like Jane's anxious around him and the mother is terrified. And like, okay, they saw a knight that they really loved probably get his guts eaten right in front of them.
Yeah, it's like if Roderick Cassell would have got eaten by like a and then
by a
Bram's
bear,
like,
and then that bear, yeah, like they bring the bear out. Yeah, he's our friend. Yeah, you gotta live with him.
And then
now.
Sansa marries somebody, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll just keep that bear. Yeah, no, fuck, that thing's gone. Yeah.
The bear took your brother's spot.
Yeah, he'll just sleep at the foot of our bed now.
Yeah. He also doesn't. We mentioned this. He doesn't like Rolf. He like growls and snaps at him every time he's around.
Yep.
And that just like sends Cat into like a
get him out.
Get that guy out.
Trust
of here.
the wolf.
Like, fuck that guy.
Trust the wolf.
And I really like that Cat is all on board with the wolves. Probably after she even mentions it. What
Summer
did for Bran. But
So what do you think? What was your thoughts on this wolf stuff, Kyle?
I mean, I'm all for it, right? Like he seems like he's one that could be in a weird spot, right? The Catelyn dude, I forget his name, Rolf. That's kind of why I pointed it out earlier, like that he's an important. I'm sure the Crags aren't super important, but he's important in that village, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm more asking, like, are you with Cat? Like, get this guy gone immediately. Like, we're 100% trusting these wolves.
But that's kind of what I'm saying, I guess. Is like this dude should have strong loyalties to home and connections to home as well. So like you don't want him in your midst.
I'm more asking straight up about the Cat Rob argument. Like, Rob has a point here. Like, Grey Wind is a animal. He's killing people in battle.
He's a weapon. He's like a
like, it's not Lady. It's not even Summer, right? Summer was caged up and like barking a lot. Like, even Shaggy Dog was kind of ferocious. Like, I could see not wanting Shaggy Dog in the kennel. Theoretically, Grey Wind is just Shaggy Dog times 10 if he just doesn't give a fuck about people anymore.
And he's allowed to do it, yeah, because he's at war.
I get where Cat's coming from for sure. Like, there is 100% something weird with these wolves. I mean, Bran works into his, Arya has the weird dream, right? There's something there. Who knows if Rob's having that too? Because I think it's interesting that we don't get Rob. A lot of people say they want Rob POVs. I think it's interesting because we get to like wonder, like, is there a Rob Grey Wind connection like that?
What's been going on in his brain so far?
There's got to be something, I think, right? Like even John's getting him.
Is that why he like snaps back when he's like, I'm not a wolf? Because Cat says like you are part Grey Wind, or like Grey Wind is part of you.
Yeah.
And to fear him is to fear you. And he's like, I'm not a wolf. And like, maybe he's just having wolf dreams like Arya is, and it's just like
I think he has to be.
He's pissing.
I don't see why he would be the only one to not.
I mean, Sansa doesn't, but hers is dead, and we don't get Rickon POVs either. But
yeah,
and Rickon's wolf is just Rickon, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're the same thing. They're just an animal.
Yeah.
I just really like that she's truly buying into the old gods here. As a new god family who probably didn't give a shit about the old gods, like she's just like, bam, like there's something weird here. Like those 5 pups were there for you, don't you remember?
5 for 5.
And he's like, bam, 6, motherfucker. There was 6 there.
Yeah, he brings up John, but let's go back to let's see, Jeff. Do you remember first ever Cat chapter?
Always remember.
First ever Cat chapter. Do you remember what it is?
You got to be more there. Come on, that's unfair.
Like her very first chapter.
I think it's prologue. Bran Cat.
Is Bran climbing?
No, she goes into the Godswood. Ned has just come back from beheading.
Oh, he just chopped dudes' heads off.
Cleaning his sword.
But on the way back in the Bran chapter, Bran is the beheading, and they found the wolves, and she is thinking like, "Hey, I heard about this wolf that has a stag that got killed by a stag antler, right? And then they found these pups." Robert Baratheon's coming to see you. Robert is the stag. Yeah. You're the wolf. She's thinking about these wolves being like a sign.
She's interpreting.
Like, back then, she's like, these are a sign from the gods. Don't go.
Don't go south.
I think in the book she actually says go south. In the show she says don't go south. In the book she's like, you need to go figure out what's going on. Yeah. She's like pushing him to go. But yeah. My point is, even back then she thinks these wolves are maybe not important, but like a sign. Right.
I mean, if we just talk about the direwolves, like they haven't been seen in a long time, right?
Yeah, like 300 years or something like that, right? I think.
And these
1,000 years, maybe.
These 6 random pups just pop up. So
yeah,
right on the path for them too.
I think we get to the root of. I truly don't think he would have like given a shit about all like, oh, Jane's scared of him. Like, all right, Jane, like, come pet him type. He could have gotten over every reason he's just mentioned, but we get to the root that Rickon and Bran in his mind are dead and the wolves didn't save him. So maybe he thought at one point, like, I'm safe as long as Grey Wind's next to me. Like
he says he did. He's like, I agreed with you. He's like, until, and she's like, until
I was
what?
Invincible. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, until what? And she's like, until I realized that they weren't protecting us. Bran and Rickon are dead. And he's like, and I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a king. He's like, if I can't protect if they can't rely on them to protect them, I sure as hell can't as a king. I can protect myself, which I think is crazy because even the king has a Kingsguard of 7 of the best knights in the realm to protect him because you don't need to be able to protect yourself as a king. But Rob, whatever, he says he can. Big dick Rob. Where's Rob's Kingsguard?
Yeah.
We need a great John, Mage Mormont, like get him in there.
Get him in a cloak. All right, so they end up getting to the audience chamber, and we talked a lot about kind of this next conversation and the reason behind it and the implication. But Blackfish's basically like, look, dude, you're a fool. Like, stop patting yourself on the back. You ruined our plans. We've already talked about how Rob probably
to Edmure. This is Blackfish and Edmure. You didn't see a conversation. You're right.
I think it's funny that like before they get into it, and again, you're right, we've already talked about it, but like so they get into the audience chamber, the servants are bringing in wine, and while that's happening, Edmure's like Rob's sitting up there, Kat's sitting over here, Edmure's like elbowing, like rubbing elbows with Blackfish, being like, "Oh, you should have seen it. The battle was great." And like Kat says, like the Blackfish just sat there and listened to it until all the servants were gone, and then he's like, "All right, shut the fuck up." Like I'm done with it. But he like the Blackfish was just like letting it all go, even until the servants were gone.
don't let any rumors out about Edmure.
Yeah, they don't want him to look bad in front of anybody.
Yeah. So I guess now how much of the plan do you actually want to go over here?
Probably just the stuff about Tywin, like what was going on with Tywin, because I don't think we really heard any of that before.
Yeah, I think that was new info.
Yeah, so what Rob tells him is like he tells Edmure that the reason it was a problem is because he stopped Tywin from crossing the river. Like Rob was waiting in the west trying to draw him out that way.
Yeah.
And by stopping him in the river, he was
basically slowed down enough. He couldn't cross the river. Slowed down enough that word traveled up river that Stannis was about to attack.
Exactly. So then when Tywin gets that word, he turns east.
Yeah.
And he goes and he meets with Mathis Rowan at the headwater of the Blackwater. And I'll put the map on the screen right now.
There's barges and stuff, right?
Not yet. That's later where they march down further. Right now they're just meeting with Mace, Mathis Rowan and Randall Tarley. Later they meet Mace and his sons, and that's when they get the barges. Yeah, so Mace, Loras, and Garland.
I liked Cat had a thought here. He's like, damn, why couldn't he fall in love with Marjorie Tyrell?
Yeah, like why couldn't he fall into her arms? Soft, shy smile and soft words.
Everybody's married to Marjorie Tyrell now, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's got the army. That's what makes her the prize.
Once Edmure really kind of finds out, like, damn, okay, maybe I did kind of fuck up here. Like, all right, like, let me fight in the van next time. Rob's basically like, oh, there'll be more battles for sure.
I'll make it up.
And Kat's also like, yeah, is that going to be to make it up to you or to win more glory?
Yeah.
So Kat only thinks that to herself. And what Rob then says is, well, you can do it soon because the next battle won't be too long. Once Joffrey gets wed, the Lannisters will take the field again, and this time they'll have the Tyrells.
And Kat's like, no, you can't fight in the south more. Like, we need to turn this shit around. We need to go north.
Yeah, we have business at home, right? Like, so long as Theon sits in your father's seat with your brother's blood on his hands, these other foes must wait. Your first duty is to defend your own people, win back Winterfell, and hang Theon in a crow's cage to die slowly.
Yikes.
Or else take the crown off forever, pretty much.
No love lost between her and Theon.
Yeah, Kat's basically saying, like, how can you be a king without a castle? Like, you need to go get your castle back.
But his castle's gone. Like, they obviously don't have that news yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rob does say he's waiting on word from Roderick's attack on Winterfell. He's probably thinking, like, all right, Roderick will just win this shit back for me so I can keep going on.
Yeah, and that's the one that the Boltons showed up, right? And they thought it was a reinforcement. And
yeah. And that one, when Ramsay shows up, Ramsay Snow, Roderick dies, Clay Serwyn dies. Yeah, like there's no one left.
Maester Lewin, R.I.P. Right?
Lewin,
he's dead too.
He was dying. Did we see him? Oh, Osha
finishes him off.
But she's like, all right, we can't go north because the Iron Men have Moat Cailin and they have the Sunset Shore, which I guess would be like going west and around to go north.
Exactly.
They can't go up the road because Moat Cailin. How are they even getting on that side of the river again?
That since they're at River Run, you could kind of
they can get north of the Twins.
Yeah, before they couldn't because Tywin was on the right side of the river. Again, I don't have the map up in front of me, but that's where the Tyrion battle took place. Was on the right side of the river. He sent half of his forces that way, right, which was Roose. He sent most of his forces that way. I think all the foot soldiers, and then he took the horse down to the Whispering Wood across the bridge. But again, if there's no one at Harrenhal, right? You own Harrenhal. Roose is the one at Harrenhal. You could just go up and around that way. You don't need the twins to get back north. They couldn't before because Tywin held Harrenhal. Is my point.
Yeah,
correct.
I have to look at that map some more.
There were just some options open now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not as restricted
because they're on the left side of the Green Fork. They can walk by.
Exactly, but now they can go to the right side of the Green Fork.
Why would they?
They can go to the right side near Harrenhal. Before they couldn't because Tywin had Harrenhal.
Yeah, but why couldn't they just always stay on the left side?
To get on the left side, you have to cross the Twins. You can't get from River Run to the King's Road unless you go
Why can't Why can't you go buy a sea guard up the coast?
Then you're in the neck, which is all bogs and stuff. Yeah, you just can't go that way. It's like that's where the swamp goes.
Okay.
I mean, you might also just not be able to take a host of thousands of people through some of these small areas.
You could.
You have to go up the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. One person could, but like an army couldn't. You need exactly. You need the King's Road. You need to get to the King's Road eventually. And there is a road on the left to the left of the twins, but.
So pretty much there's two places to cross. You either cross at the bottom or at the top, right? And
exactly.
So now they can't cross at the top is essentially where we're at.
Exactly, but they can cross at the bottom now when they couldn't earlier. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And it's like, nope. Well, we need to make. I don't plan on skirting around the phrase. We need to go make amends.
The one point Cap points out too is you can't take the River Lords. Like, there's a ton of shit going down here. Your army consists of Northmen and Rivermen. You can't take the Rivermen because then they're just going to be fucked by the Lannisters or the Tyrells or whoever's down here.
Yeah, they have to protect their house.
So you can only take the Northmen back north. So you're already cutting your army in half, and you don't have any phrase. And he's like, yeah, well, and somebody points out, like, if they hold Moat Catelyn, which they do, you can't go over by sea, then once you get to Moat Catelyn, you're not going to be able to get by there, and the phrase could just come up and fuck you from behind. And Rob's like, that's it. We need the phrase. If we don't get the phrase, we lose. Period. He's like, even with the phrase, it's not a great chance, but it's a chance. So how do we get the phrase? There has to be something. Gold, honors, land, and Cat's like, someone.
Yeah, but I don't know who Cat would be. I mean, the only person, like, so there's only a few people that fit in sense of scale, right? Like, they have to be big because he was about to get a queen.
She could just tell Rob, hey, Rob, tell Jane you're going to the store for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. That's one option, I guess. The someone is Rob. I mean, like, the Eerie, right? Like that Robin, he's kind of weird, right? Isn't this Robin? Isn't that his name? It's been so long since we've seen him.
Yeah, it's Robin.
It's Robert, but they call him Sweet Robin. But his name's Robert Aaron.
Robert. Like, I mean, I don't know the high value he brings other than the Eerie.
I mean, he's the lord of one of the 7 great houses.
Yeah.
Which the Freys aren't. Freys aren't the head of a land, right? They're not like the head of the Riverlands of the North or
So, I mean, like, she's somebody that I think Kat would think she has pull with. Right? That's kind of where I'm trying to come up with these names. Like I said, the level and who has Kat has connections to. Her own kids, like if there's any of the other ones left that she's trying to marry.
She can bank on getting Sansa back and then marrying.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't.
I mean, Arya was promised.
I think I like Robin best so far. Or there was somebody else. I can't think of who it was.
Herself.
Herself. Yeah, I mean, maybe. That's true. That's actually a good one. She has herself as a token.
And she's young enough to have kids. I think like one of the early chapters, she like when she's with Ned, it's like gross.
She's like,
she
hey.
says like Ned. She's like Ned nuts in her. And she hopes it would quicken because she was still young enough to have children. I'm pretty sure it's like the quote straight out of the book. Again, I've been rereading some of the early Game of Thrones chapters, which is why some of this is in my head.
The quote is Ned nuts in her. And she
there's no nut, but I think it quickens. Is around there is when it's
Oh gosh,
word for word.
So yeah, I mean, I like the Robin one though. I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna stick to that.
All right,
there you
go.
You're
thinking on it. Well, we'll see Kyle in the next one.
Bye,
unless
Kyle.
we got anything else to say.
I ain't got shit to say to you.
I'll see the rest of you guys in the spoiler section. We'll see Kyle in the next one for John 2. It's John, right?
John and a number. Yeah, it's John for sure.
Yeah, John 2. All right, bye, Kyle.
All right, later, nerds.
Bye.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle. See you later. Catch you next time for John 2. Nelson, what's your hot take?
So again, I don't think it's gonna
They all die.
I don't think it's gonna be a long spoiler section. They all do die because of the Frey thing. Like this is the complete downfall of Rob, right? I think Kyle is interesting. Let's talk about Kyle's predictions first. I talk about Kyle's predictions. I think it's interesting because he's completely on the right track with what he's thinking.
He's on the track, kind of like where Littlefinger's thinking.
No, he's on the track of like who are the most valuable people in Westeros besides kings, one of the lords of the Great Seven Houses.
Yeah.
Who does Cat have access to that's a lord of a Great Seven house?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Robin. He's just forgetting the other one, Edmure. Edmure is the lord of one of the Great Seven houses, and he's unmarried. Yeah. And in this chapter, they
he's not the lord yet, but it's written on the wall that he will be.
You're right. And in this chapter, they even say that Hoster was one of the two things, right? That when I even brought it up, like Frey has been insulted like this before twice. Jon Arryn once refused to foster his grandchildren.
Yeah.
And Hoster refused to marry Edmure to one of his daughters.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Edmure's unmarried. And he just fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't. And maybe because I knew Edmure's the answer.
Yeah.
That I didn't bring him up, but
I just thought it was interesting that Kyle was on the right track.
Well, I mean,
right?
What
you got to think like he was thinking, what are the best positions in the realm? Behind King, it's the lords of the seven great houses, like Stark, Arryn, Tully, Greyjoy, Lannister, Martell, and Tyrell.
Yeah, but I just think like I think that's pretty. I'm so surprised he wasn't like, oh, I'm getting Sansa back. Like they can have Sansa then.
Well, he said that. He said either one of Cat's children. No,
but he thought of Robin first. Was my point.
I think the reason Robin's just really dumb is because if they can't even get Lysa to send troops, how are they going to get Lysa to send her son? You know what I mean? Like that's why Robin's a dumb answer. Like Lysa is refusing to even join this war.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, Kyle's doing good thinking outside the box and probably was thinking at the end of reading someone, he's like, damn, who is someone? So he's definitely thinking. I don't know if there was many options other than the ones he brought up plus Edmure. So, yeah. I mean, I was kind of intrigued by the Jane. I mean, the Jane part of it all is still super weird, right? Because she's not dead.
She's not dead, and there's a theory about Jane.
Well, now that I'm rereading this, I want to know more about Rolf. Like, I want to know if they're inside people.
I'll be honest, I want to know more about Rolf Spicer, too. I don't remember if there's anything special about him that makes him more sus than the others. The only thing I know about the Westerlings is there's a lot of evidence that they were in on this from the beginning, that they knew what they were doing here already. Like Tywin, again, I don't remember exactly what the evidence is, but there's some hints later on.
How he
Tywin
got word
sending
to him.
letters, or he's sending out a lot of pardons, and one of the pardons he's sending out is to the Westerlands, and they might even get like more land. Like after the Red Wedding, they might be gifted with like a house, like a bigger plot of land or something like that.
That is
which again gives a hint that they were in on it.
Yeah, why would you reward the family that just
betrayed you?
Exactly.
But then there's a thought that Jane, I guess I don't know what this theory is. So the thing that I remember about this theory is the description of Jane here doesn't match the description of Jane when Jaime meets her. The girl that Jaime meets and is introduced to as Jane has narrow hip.
You think they Aria'd her?
Well, so people think that they were on the Lannister side, but she got pregnant, and once she was pregnant, they knew that the baby was dead. There's no way Tywin lets this baby live, right? They have this lady's about to have Rob's baby. There's no way this baby lives after the entire Starks are dead. So,
but if they were setting up Rob anyway.
So what the mom does, and again, I might be totally wrong on this theory, but I think where this theory goes is the mom, when Jaime's about to come and meet them, the mom just pretends that the children are different. She says, oh, this is Jane. She says that the other daughter, the younger girl's Jane, and says that that's my other daughter. She just never meets the real Jane.
They hide the real Jane.
The theoretical real Jane is just not there.
And they Jane pulled her.
Exactly. They pull a swap on Jaime.
Again, so relatable or so believable in this time period because there's no portraits of these people.
So I was looking this up recently, though, like today before the podcast, and I saw some people saying that George denied this in a thing where somebody asked him about this specifically, and he said that one is a typo, like the Renly horse changing or Bran's horse changing gender to Renly eyes.
Or I mean, it's also an objective, like how narrow or narrow hips type of thing.
Well, so again, I'm going down a thread. I was going down this thread here where someone's like, "No, I'm like, I see where you're going at, but I've seen like an interview with George where he says this isn't true." And then someone comments like, "That wasn't an interview with George. That was an interview with like one of his editors or something like that. Like George never confirmed that this was the same person." So I don't know. I guess there's some debate about it in the fandom. But let me see if I can find. So this is from, I think this is either Feast of Crows or Dance of Dragons. I'm not sure. but it's the Jaime chapter. With a wolf in her belly, she could have proved more dangerous than the blackfish. She did not look dangerous. Jane was a willowy girl, no more than 15 or 16, more awkward than graceful. She had breasts the size of apples, a mop of chestnut curls, and soft brown eyes of a doe. Pretty enough for a child, Jaime decided, but not a girl to lose a kingdom for. That's not the quote. Oh, this says that I guess this post I'm reading says that this was a mistake. It says the original quote used to say, Jane was a willowy girl no more than 15 or 16, more awkward than graceful. She had narrow hips, breasts the size of apples, a mop of chestnut curls, and soft brown eyes of a doe. So that says narrow hips, but the new one says Jane was a willowy girl, no more than 15 or 16, more awkward than graceful. She had breasts the size of apples, a mop of chestnut curls, and soft brown eyes of a doe. Just cuts out the narrow hips, says. It just says breasts the size of apples.
Interesting.
Do you have your
What book do you need? I have all my books.
944 is what this page is that I'm looking at here.
In Feast of Crows?
944 Feast of Crows. Yeah, my edition doesn't even say that.
She did not look dangerous. Jane was a willowy girl, no more than 15 or 16, more awkward than graceful. She had breasts the size of apples, a mop of chestnut curls, and the soft brown eyes of a doe. Yeah, pretty enough for a child.
Apparently older editions used to say Jane was a willowing girl, more than 15 or 16, more awkward than graceful. She had narrow hips, breasts the size of apples, a mop of chestnut curls, and the soft brown eyes of a doe. So, I mean, I've seen this theory. I guess I've never actually verified via the text that it's a real thing. And from my text, unless this is in somewhere else in this Jaime chapter that her hips are commented on, debunked as far as I'm concerned. This is the real Jean that Jaime meets, especially because like later in that paragraph, she goes on to say like she had a cut on her forehead.
Why does she have a cut on her forehead?
Because she didn't want to give up the crown. Like she fought when they tried to take the crown that Robb had given her. She fought to keep it on her head.
Interesting.
Which again just makes more sense that it is actually Jean and not the other one. But it does say she's no more than 15 or 16, which doesn't prove much. But they say that the younger of the two girls here is Sansa's age, which is
11, 12.
Yeah, so like in I guess in
another year or two.
Yeah, you're right. It's stretching it because this whole book only takes place over 4 months.
Right.
Storm of Swords, I'm saying. Yeah, so that was the main thing I had for the Westlings was that people had theories that Robb had potentially had a child.
Yeah.
And that the real Jane was being swapped somewhere. But I guess if that was just something that George editing error for real and it's been taken out of the editions, again,
I mean, I'm not going to throw it out there that young sister could grow up to look old enough as like I'm not
throwing it out, but it's not. I definitely don't believe it as much as I thought because the main evidence for me was that Jaime and Kat had different, like completely different descriptions of hips, wide hips versus narrow hips.
Yeah.
And if that line was intentionally removed, like if it actually used to say narrow hips and that was taken out,
right,
then that it was taken out because George didn't
want you to think that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he go back and change the eye color of whoever he screwed up? If he could change that,
he might have. I'm not sure. I think again that one he retroly fixed by
just saying. I
think somebody else later said he has blue-green eyes.
Yeah. You did say that.
Yeah. Somebody says Renly has green eyes. Somebody says blue eyes, and then later I think Brienne
bluish
says green eyes. Yeah. Or that they change. Like he covers it up in the text later somehow.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I mean, we know there's a lot more to come after the Red Wedding, especially with Edmure. But
yeah, I mean that was all I had. The last thing was just Hosper still whispering Tansy. We didn't really go into it with Kyle. We've talked about this before with Kyle, though.
Yeah, I just wanted to hit on it too because it was a good point. How is Tansy tea not like a known thing, like the name of it, or?
I think they call it moon tea normally, but Tansy is what's used to make it.
Gotcha. Because does she ask the Maester? Who does she ask in the last one? Who's Tansy? Like, would you have known a Tansy to be around my dad?
Yeah, and he goes on about I think there was a Tansy who came to fix shoes, and Kat's like, no, I remember her. She was Pansy. I think is how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. It's a good point that Kat probably should know. Right, if it's something that we're gonna figure out just through other people over like mentioning.
Oh yeah, well I guess maybe the Maester was like Tansy is a flower, or like I don't know, like put
he does say that, together. and then Chet even says he was picking Tansy. Right. So they talk about all that, but
Yeah.
yeah, we've talked about all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know if we should have said it. Then what they're gonna do is Edmure is the one that they're gonna propose.
Yeah.
And then Red Wedding shit just goes bad.
I can't wait for Kyle's reaction.
I don't want to ask Kyle, but I'm pretty sure like early on, like one of the first 5 episodes, we must just go back and listen. I'm pretty sure I probably left it out of the recording.
Yeah. Of like Kyle saying he knows about bad shits at weddings.
Well, I think one of the first times we asked him, like, what do you know about
Yeah.
the show? Like, let us know what you know now. Get it out of the way. I think he said Ned dies, Hodor, and the Red Wedding. I know there's something called the Red Wedding, but I don't know what it is. Is I think what he said.
Well, he's not really going to know. There's going to be 2 weddings being planned, which is kind of good.
3. Sansa's 2. I think Sansa's
right.
I think Sansa's kind of sneaks up on us, though.
Thankfully, there are some, even though shit goes on at 2 of the 3, maybe he'll be like, until they call it the Red Wedding. I don't even know who names it the Red Wedding, but he's not going to get confirmation that it's the Red Wedding until we tell him it's the Red Wedding.
Yeah, you're right. But I think, again, the way we're reading, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he could straight out come out and say in the first minute of the thing, the Red Wedding.
And I might be dumb. Like, I might be dumb because, like, maybe I'm thinking there's more lead up than there is. But I feel like there's like 2 or 3 cat chapters where they're like, okay, we're on the way to the phrase, and then it's raining, and they like stop at Tumbledown Tower, and she tells Rob some story, and the next thing they get to the phrase, and it's still raining, and then that's the end of it, and then Arya's getting close too. You know what I mean? Like, storylines are converging at this. It's like a big event.
Yeah.
I mean, so is the Joffrey one, but the Joffrey one's after.
Just think about where he's at with Arya. Is like, oh, Arya's gonna reunite. Like, Arya's making it to Riverrun, where his mindset is right now. So,
I just think that I think, like, when you pay attention and you realize that, like one of the things here is they say that Oliver Frey, who was Rob Squire, wanted to stay on with Rob.
Yeah.
But they like, no, you're coming with us. Well, Oliver's not at the Red Wedding. And again, will Kyle remember that? I don't know.
No.
But like when you're really reading into it, there's a lot of stuff like that where Frey's who, like, I think Perwyn Frey, the one who went to Cat to Bitterbridge, I think he might also not be at the Red Wedding. Like Freys who are more friendly, who are actually friendly with the Starks. Like, yeah, like Perwyn might have been upset, but he might not want to kill Cat. Like, she's a nice lady. I served her for a few months. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think certain Freys aren't there. In like the chapter before, people are asking like, "Oh, where's Oliver? Oh, where's Perwyn?" And like, "Oh, he got sent away. Oh, he got sent away."
He won't remember them unless he asks them. No, he's not gonna know.
I don't know. I just think that because we've been reading kind of close, there might be a few hit. Maybe again, I agree with you. He wouldn't know that type of stuff, but there might be stuff that makes it kind of obvious what's going on. Especially like, and again, it hasn't been brought up in a little bit, but the guest right thing, like that got brought up in the John chapter, like the whole guest right, eating. And I think Cat's like Rob, make sure you eat. Yeah, exactly. So like, if they keep hammering home guest right, and then like that's a big part of the chapter before the Red Wedding. Again, I think some alarm bells would be going off, but I don't know. I hope not. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, we're lingering.
We'll see you guys in the next one for John 2. I don't even know what goes on in that one, but we'll see you in that one.
I'm gonna say he starts scouting with the people. They got to start moving, right?
They might get to the Fist of the First Men. Yeah,
does he
you're probably
join
right.
Rattleshirt's crew?
I bet you they get to the Fist of the First Men, and then soon after we'll have a Sam chapter. Might even be the next one. First Sam chapter of the book. Maybe get some art done.
All right, well, see you guys there.
That's not. Sam's after him. But yeah, Sam soon enough. See you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.